On July 1st, 2012, Wings of Fire Book 1, The Dragonet Prophecy, was published. Today, we celebrate 10 years of Wings of Fire with the final entry in my Closer Look series. Ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between, I give you a closer look at NightWings. Oh, and spoiler warning for pretty much everything. NightWings are more on the bulkier side, with relatively straight horns, forked black tongues, and a star pattern on the underside of their wings. Their scales are mostly black, but sometimes contain traces of gray, blue, green, or purple. They have incredibly powerful night vision and are nocturnal, meaning they're active at night and sleep during the day. They can also breathe fire because of course they can. Now let's talk about the NightWing exclusive powers, Mind Reading and Future Sight. There's nothing that tells a Future Seer apart from a normal NightWing, but Mind Readers have a silver teardrop scale by their eyes. How a dragon gets these powers is dependent on the 3 moons when they hatch. 1 full moon gives one or the other, 2 full moons guarantees both, and 3 gives both with enhanced power. For a time it was believed 3 full moons also gave animus magic, but this was disproved when animus magic was confirmed to instead be genetic. The strength of these powers can vary. Mind readers can be anything from only sensing emotions to hearing what every dragon around them is specifically thinking, and they're able to project their thoughts to each other and have mental conversations. And seers can range from having vague visions up to their own interpretation to being able to trace their entire tribe's extinction down to what they had for breakfast that day. Tui herself also confirmed at a Q&A panel back in 2020 what would happen in the event of a blood moon. Seers gain the ability to see upcoming natural disasters and other terrible events very vividly, and mind readers are able to project their own thoughts to any dragon, not just other telepaths. While this is considered to be canon, it has unfortunately never happened in the books. Let's start with the Old Night Kingdom. In this era, the NightWings were famous for their relations with other tribes and honoring of knowledge. Higher-ranked NightWings lived in homes situated high on the cliffs, while the opposite was true for lower-ranked ones. Nests were placed high up to ensure the eggs were exposed to moonlight. Unfortunately, their feud with the Icewings also started in this time period. Moving on to the volcanic island, the NightWings became very secretive and did what they could to maintain a reputation for being mysterious and powerful, although this was just a way to cover up their weakened state. NightWing Dragonets were taught obedience and loyalty and were prevented from leaving the island until the age of 10, with few exceptions. In present day, the NightWings live in the rainforest under the rule of Rainwing Queen Glory. Not everyone is happy with this arrangement, but hey, it's better than an active volcano, right? NightWing naming schemes can relate to a dragon's personality, like Thoughtful, a job, like Deathbringer, physical appearance, like Bigtail, powers, like Moroseer, or night-themed things like Starflight. Get comfy, everyone. We're gonna be here for a while. Now, by this point, we all know how the story begins. Just over 5,000 years ago, Pyria was a continent ruled by 3 human empires. After a long campaign led by Cottonmouth to steal dragon eggs from their nests, the dragons retaliated by burning down human civilization in an event known today as the Scorching. After the Scorching, the NightWings eventually evolved from whatever dragons existed at the time, if NightWings didn't exist already, and settled into a kingdom on a peninsula that made up the claw of the dragon-shaped continent. About 2,000 years before present day, the NightWing Queen was Queen Vigilance. She sent a diplomat named Prudence and her daughter Foeslayer on a diplomatic mission to the Ice Kingdom, where Foeslayer was tasked with seducing the Animus Icewing Prince Arctic and bringing him back to the Night Kingdom, which she succeeded in doing. Unfortunately, this would trigger a war between the 2 tribes. Arctic and Foeslayer had 2 children, Whiteout and Darkstalker. Darkstalker in particular hatched on a brightest night with 3 full moons, so he got mind reading and future sight, as well as inheriting his father's animus powers. Darkstalker eventually met and fell in love with Clearsight, one of, if not the most powerful seer in the tribe's history. As the 2 grew older, Clearsight would be promoted to Vigilance's top seer. Over on Darkstalker's side of the story, word of his power reached the Sea Kingdom, and Prince Fathom was sent to the Night Kingdom to mentor him and teach him not to use his powers. Darkstalker would create a scroll that he would use to cast spells instead of doing it himself. Later, Foeslayer was captured by Queen Diamond and imprisoned in an ice cave that would become the setting for the Diamond Trial, but I went over that in the Icewing video. Back in the Night Kingdom, Darkstalker continued to manipulate Clearsight and Fathom and plotted to overthrow Queen Vigilance and take over the tribe. He reached a boiling point when Arctic attempted to give Whiteout over to Queen Diamond in exchange for Foeslayer's freedom, at which point Darkstalker enchanted him to put himself up on a stage and disembowel himself. Clearsight and Fathom found out about Darkstalker's plans, and Fathom enchanted a bracelet to put Darkstalker to sleep. Clearsight slipped it on him and buried him under a mountain, where he would remain for the next 2,000 years. Clearsight then fled Pyria and went west to start a new life on Pantala, but again I covered that in another video. In the aftermath of all this, the NightWings fled their kingdom, fearing Darkstalker's eventual revenge, and settled on a volcanic island not marked on any map. Their war with the Icewings went without an official conclusion, but their intense feud remained. Due to the ash from the volcano blocking out most natural light, NightWing Dragonets eventually stopped being born with powers. The old Night Kingdom was left abandoned, and over the next couple millennia, shifting tides caused a good chunk of it to wind up underwater. A few decades before present day, the NightWing Queen was Queen Battlewinner. At some point, she got into a fight with an Icewing and got frost breath shots straight down her throat. She was then confined to a cauldron of lava to prevent the ice from freezing her. Her closest advisor, Moroseer, became the one who carried out most of her orders from then on. When the War of Sandwing Succession broke out, the NightWings stayed out of it at first, but eventually started meddling in it by assassinating specific targets to prolong the war, hoping the destruction would provide an opportunity for them to establish a new home. Along with that, Moroseer made up the prophecy of the 5 Dragonets of Destiny and arranged for the Talons of Peace to raise them. The NightWings later made a secret alliance with Blister to help her win, in exchange for her helping them invade the rainforest to make it their new home. In preparation for this, an animus descendant of Whiteout named Stonemover was tasked with creating a network of enchanted tunnels to connect the Sand Kingdom, Rainforest, and Nightwing Island. While in the Sand Kingdom, Stonemover met and fell in love with a Sandwing named Thorn. They conceived an egg, but after constructing the tunnels, Stonemover grew to fear his own powers, and hid away in Jade Mountain. He cast a spell to keep from going insane by having the curse manifest on his body, gradually turning him to stone. With the tunnels built, the Nightwing started kidnapping Rainwings and experimenting on them, hoping to harness their venom. Thorn and Stonemover's Dragonet, Sunny, was taken and became the Sandwing Dragonet of Destiny. See the Sandwing video for more info on her. Today we're focusing on the Nightwing Dragonet, Starflight. You'd think hatching on a brightest night would make him incredibly powerful, but nope, he hatched in a cave where his egg wasn't exposed to any moonlight, so no powers for him. When Scarlet captured the Dragonets, Moroseer pulled Starflight out himself and told him to convince the other Dragonets to choose Blister as the new Sandwing Queen. Right after Glory took the Rainwing throne, Starflight was kidnapped and brought to the Nightwing Island, where he learned about what the tribe was really up to, and also that the volcano was dangerously close to erupting. Glory organized an attack on the island to rescue all the prisoners, and when she and Starflight confronted Queen Battlewinner, she became angry enough to climb out of her cauldron and attack them. However, the ice took over and froze her to death almost immediately. The volcano began to erupt, and the invasion suddenly became an evacuation as everyone worked to save the island's residents. Moroseer was killed in the eruption, and Starflight took a bit of lava to the face, permanently blinding him. The Nightwings are brought to the rainforest, where they mostly agree to be ruled by Glory and the Rainwings in exchange for getting help building their new home there. 6 months after the end of the war, an earthquake happens that, due to some shifting rocks, breaks the bracelet keeping Darkstalker asleep, causing him to wake up. Not long after, Starflight and the other Dragonets opened Jade Mountain Academy, with Starflight becoming the librarian. The Nightwing students included Bigtail and Moonwatcher. Let's talk about Moon for a sec. Moonwatcher is the daughter of Moroseer, a fact only known by her mother. Her egg was smuggled off the Nightwing Island and hatched in the rainforest under 2 full moons, causing her to be the first Nightwing in centuries to have powers. Due to her telepathy, she starts having conversations with Darkstalker. As for Bigtail, let's just say he wasn't around very long.
Did somebody say boom?
Moon later accompanied the Jade Winglet on their quest to find Winter's brother, Hailstorm. Once Hailstorm was found and taken back to the Ice Kingdom, Winter and Hailstorm discover Foeslayer and Winter frees her. The group later recovered Darkstalker's scroll and returned to the mountain where Darkstalker was buried. The scroll was burned up, giving Darkstalker his animus powers back and allowing him to escape. He went about turning some Nightwings from the rainforest to his side and took them to the Old Kingdom, where he began building an army. When the Icewings got word of Darkstalker's return, the 2 sides met at Jade Mountain for the final confrontation, until both of them got sent back to their kingdoms by Anemone's spell. It didn't take long for Darkstalker to return to Jade Mountain, where he reunited with his mother and was tricked into eating an enchanted strawberry, which turned him into a Nightwing-Rainwing hybrid baby named Peacemaker. Foeslayer changed her name to Hope and now lives peacefully in the rainforest raising Peacemaker. After that whole incident, Moon was one of the first dragons to greet Luna when she washed up in the Sand Kingdom. When the Pantalan dragons came to Pyria, Glory participated in a summit with the other queens to decide what to do about the Othermind situation, and Moon was chosen as the Nightwing representative on the mission back to Pantala. She was captured at first, but was later freed by Sundu and Lynx. While in prison, she accepted some sort of drink that later allowed her to connect with the Othermind and show Lizard some other dragon's memories. Moon came back from the mission alive along with the others, and that is where the NightWing's history, at least so far, ends. So, my final thoughts? Put simply, I love the NightWings. All the other tribes have biological weapons, but the NightWings were the first to have actual supernatural powers. That is really cool. And they are undeniably the most developed tribe in the series. They've got all kinds of lore, and they've changed so much over the course of the books. However, that is a double-edged sword. Between all the secrets uncovered in the first arc, how much lore we learn and focus they get in the second, and oh god, Legends Darkstalker, they were really hogging the spotlight. In a way, they're kind of to blame for some of the other tribes not being super developed. But they were still a great tribe to end this series on. 8 out of 10, which leaves the final scoring list as follows. Sandwings and Seawings with 9 out of 10, Rainwings and Nightwings with 8, Sky and Ice with 7, Silk, Hive, and Leaf with 6, and Mud with 5. Time for this week's featured fan art. We've got pieces from Rice, Sukuna Matata, Silvertail, another from Sukuna Matata, and I'm gonna guess that's pronounced Insai. It probably isn't, sorry if I butchered it. Thanks a bunch guys, and if any of you want to submit your own fan art, you can do so in my Discord server. Now, a few words. As I said at the start, Wings of Fire is officially 10 years old. Without these books, I very likely wouldn't be where I am today, and for that, I am forever grateful. Happy 10th anniversary, Wings of Fire, and here's to a bright future. This has been Wings of Charcoal, and if anyone's wondering if I'll do a closer look at humans, let me make myself clear. I will be dead and buried in the cold hard ground before such a video sees the light of day. See you guys in the next one.